Good evening, everyone. Pleasant Sabbath. All right, this is the children's story for this evening, and the story is taken from Campfire Junior Stories. But this story this evening is entitled The Vision of the Missing Hairnet. All right, it all happened many, many years ago in Northern California. Mrs. Ellen G. White, the Lord's messenger, was living at Healdsburg, only a few blocks from our new college. Since her husband, Elder James White, was now dead, Sister White invited several young ladies to live in her home as they attended school. Among these was one young lady of considerable ability. Now I'm going to ask the children, Jose or Hosanna, can you tell me what you think I mean when I say considerable ability? Anybody? Considerable ability? What do you think that means? All right, so he said she had distinguishable abilities or great potential, and she was actually teaching at the school. How this young lady enjoyed living in Sister White's home. It was a large, two-story, white framed house surrounded with a garden and orchard. Sister White was a big-hearted, understanding mother to the girls who lived with her, and all went well for a few months. Then it happened. As this girl went through Sister White's bedroom on some errand, she saw something on the dresser she wanted very much. She stopped and looked at it. The longer she lingered, the more she felt she just had to have it. She looked this way and that, and seeing no one around, she reached out her hand and took it. What do you think it possibly could be, Hosea?
A Bible.
Okay, a Bible. All right. What really was it? Was it a watch or was it something valuable? No, it was neither. It was just a hairnet, a simple hairnet. Now, at that time, the women often wore a hairnet over their hair, and Sister White would not miss it, or so that is what the girl believed. And she herself wanted it just as much. So, leaving Sister White's bedroom with the hairnet in her closed hand, the young lady went to her bedroom and opened up her trunk and put the net in the corner of the tray. She closed the trunk and went about her duties. Now, can you tell me what do you think? Can you give me another word? It described what happened, but what do you call that? She took something that doesn't belong to her. What do we call that?
Stealing.
Yes, stealing. Good. But as she closed her trunk, there was no song in her heart now. Why do you think she had no song in her heart?
Because she was unhappy with what she did.
All right, she might have been unhappy with what she did. All right, let's read on and see what happens. A few hours later in the day, Sister White was preparing to go out, and entering her bedroom to get ready, she brushed her hair and thought to put on the hairnet, as was the custom of that day. But she could not find the hairnet anywhere. It was not on top of the dresser. She looked behind it, it was not there. She looked under it, it was not there. She could not find the missing hairnet anywhere. And giving up, she had to go out without it. That evening at worship time, the girls gathered with Sister White around the open fireplace. And often Sister White, in connection with the worship, told a story of the early days. How they did enjoy these stories. But however, this evening, Sister White had a question to ask the girls. What do you think she's going to ask the girls?
Who stole my net?
All right. Yes, so she asked, has anyone seen my hairnet? And continuing, she said, it was right there on the dresser in my bedroom. When I went to get it, it was gone. It must be found. It could not go away by itself. But no one seemed to know about the hairnet, for no one responded. There was one girl there, however, who wished Mrs. White would stop questioning about the hairnet, and so the matter was dropped. A day or two later, as Sister White was passing through the girl's room, a voice spoke to her as she passed the trunk. Lift the lid of that trunk. But it was not Sister White's trunk, and she would not ever think of looking into someone else's trunk. Again, the voice spoke to her. Lift the lid of that trunk. Now Sister White realized that this voice could only be the voice of that of an angel, and she obeyed the command. In the tray was the missing hairnet. What do you think Sister White should have done after she found the hairnet in the trunk?
Prayed.
All right, pray. Do you think she should have taken it up?
Yes.
All right, Hosea says yes. All right, but Sister White left it there. She closed the trunk and went about her task. So she didn't take it up, but she left it there instead. That evening, as the family came together again for worship, the hairnet question came up once more. Does anyone know where my hairnet has gone? Sister White asked. I am sure it can be found. It could not go away by itself. But there was no response, and no one seemed to know anything about the hairnet. Sister White did not press the matter further. One girl was worried, and in her heart, she determined to destroy the hairnet, lest Sister White should discover that she had taken it. How ungrateful this would seem. So, a few days later, after this, Sister White was seated in the living room in front of the fire in the fireplace, busy with her writing. It may have been a personal testimony she was writing to someone, or she may have been working on some of the last chapters of Great Controversy. For several hours, she had been busy with her pen, and her hand was tired. Her mind was tired, and her eyes were tired. She laid her pen down and looked into the fireplace, and then, just for a moment, she was in a vision. This one was one of the shortest visions ever given to Sister White. In this vision, she saw the hand and arm of a girl, and in the hand, what do you think was in the girl's hand?
A hairnet.
The hairnet. She also saw on the table a kerosene lamp which was burning. She saw the hairnet held over the lamp and then lowered until the net touched the flame. What do you think the girl was about to do with the hairnet?
Burn it.
Yeah, she was about to burn the hairnet. In a flash of light, the silk net burned, and it was gone. The vision was over, and Sister White found herself in the living room by the open fire. Now she knew what had happened to the missing hairnet. That evening, when the family was together around the fireplace, Sister White asked again about the hairnet. Did not someone know what had happened to it? Someone must have known about it, but nothing was said. No one seemed to know, and so Sister White dropped the matter. A little later, Sister White called aside the girl in whose trunk she had seen the hairnet. She told her about the voice that spoke to her. She told her what had happened and what she saw when she opened the trunk. Then she told her about the short vision and of how she saw the hairnet burned up over the lamp. The girl broke down in tears. Yes, Sister White, I took it, she confessed. I wanted it so much, and I did not think you would miss it. But when you began to press the matter, I feared you would find out that I had taken it. So I held the net over a lamp and burned it up, just as you saw in the vision. And I said to myself, no one will ever know about the hairnet. But can you tell me who knows or sees everything? God, thank you. But someone was watching from up in heaven, and the angels made a record of what took place. And God sent his angel down to this world with a vision for Sister White just about the hairnet. It was such a small thing for the Lord to bother about. God, who created the earth and guides the planets, sent his angel down to this world with a vision for Sister White just about a hairnet a girl had taken. But it was a matter much more important than the value of the hairnet. Here was the soul of a young girl at stake. She was a member of the church. She went to Sabbath school and to church. She was a Seventh-day Adventist, and she felt that she was all right. She did not realize that there were little sins in her life, sins which led her to steal and to deceive. But when she saw that God loved her so much that he sent his angel down to this world with a vision for Sister White just about the hairnet, then she began to see some things differently. Some of the seemingly little things now seemed greater and more important. How much the Lord must love her, she thought. How important the little things were. Not only did the girl confess her sin of stealing and make the matter right with Sister White and with the Lord, but this experience became the turning point in her life. This young lady gave her heart anew to God, and she lived a sweet, consistent Christian life. And that was why the vision was given to Sister White. It was to help men and women and boys and girls to live sweet, consistent Christian lives, that so many visions were given to Sister White. And the counsels were written out in the Spirit of Prophecy books to help everyone live good lives and to get ready to meet Jesus. Here ends my story.
Good afternoon. This is not about the story. The story is finished. I just want to introduce an extra session on Sabbath afternoons. It will only be about 10 minutes, and it has to do with memorizing some Bible verses. I figured if you started in the morning, we can try and do some more serious memorizing and repeating on Sabbath afternoons. But it wouldn't be any type of text. We'll have them under headings so that when, somebody comes up to you sometimes and asks you a question, you'll be able to just bring that straight from the memory. So I'm giving you the first Bible text under the heading, The Humanity of Christ. The heading is missing there. The Humanity of Christ. These will be learned it will have to be after next because next week, I believe, is the open air meeting. So you can copy them down, John chapter 1, verses 1 to 3 and verse 14, Hebrews 2, 14 to 18, Romans 8:3, Romans 1:3. They're not at all very difficult, and we are aiming to learn all for 2 weeks from now. Normally it would be 1 week, but you are getting extra grace this week. And this is under the humanity of Christ. So I'm thinking that if we know some Bible verses in connection with our major beliefs, it will help to make it easier for us to be used by God to share the gospel, share a true understanding of the word. Thank you. So you can note them and start preparing.